sunshine and some passing clouds into the afternoon as high temperatures approach the 20-degree mark. Our wind chills, though, sub-zero with a breezy northwest wind. More clouds on the way in the overnight. Lows in the lower single digits. Our wind chills around 10 below. Thursday, expect a cooler day with mid-teens and partly sunny skies. That's the forecast on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Currently 17 degrees.
Hunter? Are we allowed to say snooker double shot pump on the air?
What?
Yeah, that's what they were talking about.
Wow.
Apparently it's a billiard thing. It sounded dirty to me. Anyway, welcome to the noon hour of our programming day on a Wednesday. That means it's a fancy way of saying it's time for Senior Talk, which is brought to you by the Solon American Legion and Senior Benefits. Here is your host, Rex Brandstatter.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Senior Talk. What a great day. I'm not even going to repeat what Tommy was doing there. I don't know what's up. World's record by some 3-year-old kid playing pool. What? Sure beats my days playing pool down at Joe's place, I'm sure. Probably better than me. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, a great day to be here, a great day to be with you, and a wonderful day to be a senior, and thanks, everyone, for tuning in today on Senior Talk. Hello to you, and thank you for taking time out of your busy day, and now is the perfect time, I think, on this day in January 2026. It's kind of a fair-looking day out there. It's a great day to grab a sandwich, take some time, and get yourself a nice cold root beer and join the fun here on Senior Talk. As every week, I'll do my very best to bring a myriad of topics and ideas that might cover some important aspects of being or becoming a senior. Some of these might be important to you or your family or friends. Some of them may not be, but it's just a matter of maybe hearing some things that could maybe trigger something that you could do. Might want to consider that type of thing as we go about our lives as seniors, because I'm going to tell you something, folks. It gets more complicated as we get older. We all know that. So it really, truly does, and we need to be prepared for it, and that's what this is all about. My name is Rex Brandstatter. I'm 76 years old, real estate broker, and I work mostly with seniors. I work with the seniors themselves. I work with the families of seniors. I work with the seniors and their families together. All sit down in one room and talk about grandma and grandpa or mom and dad or you, and you invite your kids who may be in their 50s or 60s. You never know. And we sit down and see what your housing needs may be, some things that you may need some help with. That's what I do. I work with trust departments of banks, attorneys, accountants call me. I work with estates, a lot of estates. I work with the executors of estates call me. I work with the administrators of estates, all kinds of things like that. And it's what I do. It's what I prefer to do, work with seniors and the states and things like that. So I offer a senior line. If you're in that category, somewhere along the line, I'm at 319-330-5534. 330-5534. Give me a call on my senior line. Well, several years ago, a friend of mine was the promoter at the let's see, what's it called, the Cedar Rapids Area Home Show down at Hawkeye Downs down there. And he called me one time, maybe 10 years ago, and he said, Rex, would you be interested in having a seminar? You know, they always have seminars on how to build a cabinet, or seminars on how to install a garage door, on anything you can think of for houses. I said, well, how about my little seminar I put together called 5,001 Things Seniors Need to Know? Now, I didn't have 5,001 things, but I thought, remember, that's kind of the hook, you know, that's kind of the catchphrase there. He says, sure, you're on. So for the next 5 years, I did, and I ended up, this is 2026. I probably haven't been there since 2020, maybe 2019, something like that. And so for 5 years, for 1 hour and 15 minutes down at the Hawkeye Down, I did a seminar called 5,001 Things Seniors Need to Know. And it covers lots and lots of things that we do here on Senior Talk. And that's a 1 hour program there, and I offered the people to make notes, and they did, and I had people call me on my senior line, and I had people ask questions. I had people I said, if you need to call someone in your family from here, go ahead, you know, ask questions on what we talked about, and they did. And so this 5,001 things, that's exactly what we're doing here on Senior Talk, and I do my very best to bring lots and lots of things to you, and I learn things along the way myself, of course. That's what this is all about. Well, you know, I just want to say, are you kidding me on all these weather forecasts? You just heard the weather forecast for tomorrow. It said it's going to cool off. Cool off? How's it going to cool off? It's below zero at night, and the wind chill below zero right now. It looks nice. All we can do, but one thing we used to say is true, that we can't do anything about the weather except one thing, and that one thing is what? We can complain about it. That's exactly what we do, and I'm probably the level best when I'm complaining about the weather. But you have to remember, now we're here in Iowa, and it's the middle of winter, so we are our own worst enemy. I have, if you listen to the Senior Talk, I have several mile markers that I call along the way to get to spring, and the number one is to get the sun to turn around, which we did right at 30 days ago, just a little over 30 days ago. So we're up. We started with a sunset of about 4:35, 4:36, something like that, and now we're 5:08, 5:09. So the sun's doing its job. He's on the way back. And the other one, the main one, is get rid of January. Well, folks, this weekend we're going to get rid of January. We've got to get rid of the January in our rearview mirror, and we're going to do it. All right, this Saturday is the last day of January. This Saturday, go have a root beer because this is the last day of January this Saturday. Goodbye January for sure. Let's do some homework. Let's do some. Turn up your radios, lean forward. You're a senior, and let's do some homework. Today, as I'm speaking, is the 28th day of January, 2020, 28th day of January. So this must mean the following. Number one, you are 28 days into your annual diet or exercise program. How's it going? Is it going? You're 28 days into your annual diet or exercise program. How's that working out? All right. I don't see. Well, raise your hand if you're taking advantage of that the time frame. I don't see too many hands. I see a lot of people rolling their eyes, looking the other way. And number two, you're 28 days into your all-new program to get rid of a lot of stuff. 28 days you've been at it since day one, since January 1. How's that going? Well, I see a few more hands. I've talked to several people who are into things like that, and but not as many as I suspect. Not as many as who need to take advantage of this program to get rid of your stuff. Your diet and exercise program, that's up to you. That's your business. But this get rid of stuff. If you talk to any senior who's ever come to the conclusion that they need to move, that they have to move, Mr. Smith, the senior, passes away, and now Mrs. Smith is there, and all the stuff, or vice versa, and or Mr. and Mrs. Smith are still here, and they just have come to the conclusion like, God, what are we doing with all this stuff? What can we do? And there are ways to do that for sure. So anyhow, I know you're 28 days into either one of, maybe you're into both. I just don't know. Good luck to you. All right, but I think I know the answers for about 99% of you. Well, interesting. Speaking of that, we were at a sports bar last week, and 4 or 5 of us sitting there, and there were a few young girls. I'm going to call them, well, I'd say late 20s, early 30s. You know, they weren't college kids. They were sitting at the table right next door to us, and the waitress brought one of them came in a little later than the rest of them, so she took the order, came back, we had a glass of beer for that lady, and one of her friends said to her, here's what we heard. I thought you were doing dry January or no alcohol January. And the girl who received the beer said, I was, but it only lasted 3 days. I was, but it only lasted 3 days. So maybe that's how your diet program or exercise program is going, or maybe that's how your program to get rid of your stuff is going. Yeah, good ideas, good intentions. January 4th, I had a beer. You know. So be it. It is what it is. All right. I want you to do this. I want you to check your mailbox because your bank will be sending you information on your investments, your interest to earn. Maybe you're working and you're going to get a W-2 there and things like that. So with this cold weather, you know, I have to tell you that sometimes we don't get mail as often as we used to. I don't know if it's too cold for them anymore. I don't know what they're not picking on the postal workers for sure. I don't know what their plans are sometimes. So keep an eye on her because you're going to want to get your tax information started. So that's a good place to start looking is in your post office box for sure. I'm going to tell you right now, if you really like to watch eagles, I mentioned this, but I'm telling you, folks, these eagles are everywhere. This is ground zero right now along the Iowa River in Coralville, right out here in the cornfield, right out in front of the beautiful but not overly ostentatious KCJJ studios. In the Pick cornfield, there was 15 to 20, 25 eagles over there right now as we speak. They're over there. I look out the window. I see a couple of them flying by. So you don't see many eagles landing in the cornfield. They're like pheasants. They don't eat corn. You know, they eat meat, they eat carrion and things like that. So kind of rare to see that. And they stand up bigger than a goose decoy. You can sure tell them for sure. So, but if you're out there in Corvette, if you go to Panera Bread on First Avenue, if you drive to the back end of their parking lot, there's a great big tree in the back along the river. You can see really what. And I think this morning I counted 14 eagles sitting in that tree. So if you like to watch the eagles, our American bird, go. By the way, Benjamin Franklin had an idea. He wanted a bird to be the national bird. Anybody know what it was? It was not the eagle. Benjamin Franklin wanted what bird to be our national bird? That's right. He wanted the turkey to be the national bird. And thank God that didn't go because we got to have them for Thanksgiving, for God's sake. You don't want to eat the national bird. Wow. Well, all this weather is probably what we deserve, of course, and we actually, we dodge all that stuff down south. Imagine how it would be not to have electricity for a few days or a week, and like some of those people, that's, your electricity goes off for a couple hours, and we're all going, hey, wait, start calling, where's my heat, where's my electricity? Now, these people don't have it for a week. I honestly don't know how you bodily function. It's not good. It's not nice. Now what happens, people start using heaters, indoor heaters, and people start doing stupid things like bringing the barbecue in, or honestly got propane heaters in the house, open the oven. It's natural reaction, I guess, but it's certainly not safe. There's a big fire in Coralville yesterday. I don't know what the cause of it was. I'm not going to pick on that, but in the winter it's just the worst time. So please be careful. Thank God we did dodge all that. I feel sorry for those people. We have friends who are down in Alabama right now for the January, and they said it hasn't been really overnight down there. So. Some of the things you can consider battery-operated radios as supplemental and safe heating systems and lights and cooking and food. So it's just hard to imagine all those things. You wake up this morning and there's no electricity. Now, you can take a shower and you can use the bathroom, but there's no electricity, so it's a tough go. Certainly not safe at all, for sure. A warm senior lady, she says to me, she says it's time for, here's what she said, time for me to move south. I've considered this for several years, and I live alone, and I can do whatever I want. She says, I'm now considering Florida and Arizona. She says, I've been considering them for a long time. But she said, I'm in my mid-70s. I got thinking, so am I. And she says, I've just had it with this weather, so I'm moving. Any ideas? She said. I said, well, yeah, I do have an idea. And I said, first of all, good for you. You're running your own operation. You're sailing your own ship. And to do what you want to do. It's a free country, and go to it. I only suggest this. I said, I suggest that you visit, if you're thinking of Florida or Arizona, I suggest that you go down there during the time of year like now. Okay, you'd be living there year-round if you move down there, but I go down there now to see if you like it down there. I go down there now, and we'll just say between now and May 1st. We'll just pick some time out here. I don't care when you go, but and see if you like it down there in both places. You might want to go to Arizona in July and see if you like it, because it's hotter than hell down there. August, September. You just do your homework. That's just for the weather. Oh, that's just for the weather. You should also, if you're going to move to one of these places, you should check out the respective sales taxes, the state income tax structure, whether or not they tax your Social Security. Do they tax your Social Security? Does Iowa tax our Social Security? Yes, Rex, they do. No, ladies and gentlemen, they do not. Okay, they do not tax our Social Security. The cost of renting or buying in those areas. Check out if there are places for seniors to meet. You might like some activities if they have maybe public places you can go, or the recreation areas, type of thing like that you could meet other people. That'd be a great thing to maybe if you check out a church or two while you're down there, whatever it is that you do. That'd be a good time rather than just flat move there and then check it out. And 2 weeks certainly is not not long enough, but it would give you a knee-jerk reaction to whether or not you're really going to like it there. And stay at minimum 2 weeks, not 2 days, not 3 days. Go down there and stay for a couple weeks, for sure. And I really suggest you go at the time of year that you really like the most. So if winter is a reason, go down there in the winter and see what you think. Either one of them. All right. Good luck to that lady. Have at it and go do it for sure. A senior calls and asks me this: what can we do with our driveway? So I smart adequately said, you can shovel it. And they said, no, we use it. So we use a snowblower. And when we use a snowblower, the driveway is pretty rough, and it's raised in places, and it's cracked. What can we do? And I said, well, not a whole lot right now. But I know what you're dealing with. And, when the frost is going, when the frost comes back up out of the ground, that's part of the reason your cement is what we call heaved. It's got some cracks in it, and then the ice and snow and rain get down in there, and then it expands and heaves. So now you've got bigger cracks, bigger lumps than you thought you did. So the first thing you do when the frost is gone this spring is have a I'm going to just flat say, have a cement guy. I don't care if a woman, whoever you call. Just have a cement guy come over and take a look. And I'm going to tell you, as a real estate broker, so many people overlook the driveway when doing repairs and updates. When I show a house, I just take you right first thing while we're outside. I say, let's look at the driveway. And they think I'm nuts because they want to see the house, and I want to look at the driveway. Well, the driveway, lots of things going on in a driveway. It's cracking and heaving, and the cement is what they call spiled, and that's where they poured it too hot when they poured it. It was too dry when they poured it, and it's what they call shaling. It's got all kinds of problems on top of it. Driveways are not cheap. Driveways, we drive in our car in and out every day. Might have a basketball court out there. You might use it to ride your kids, grandkids, ride the bikes around. I mean, it's important for sure. We all know that. So you can either replace it or have it mud jacked. So many people don't pay any attention to their driveway, and I think that's sad. A lot of people don't pay any attention from the driveway to the sidewalk over the front door. Sometimes that's slanted and cracked and skinny, and it's time to think that through. Now, not today. You got better things to worry about your driveway today. You probably can't even see it. Maybe there's that much snow on it. But so that's what I told the couple. I know exactly what you're dealing with, but it's part of your property, part of your everyday use. So I highly suggest you keep your driveway in good shape for sure. A senior couple advises this: our house sure seems cold. Well, join the crowd. And I said, it is cold outside. Even in our house, it's cold. It just is. And feel free. You can do a couple things. You can turn up the heat, what you call it. So here's what you need to do. Here's what I suggest you do. Call a furnace guy for a checkup. Maybe your furnace isn't running right. Maybe your furnace is just working his little fanny off down there and can't keep up, which would lead you to think if your house is cold. A couple things here. Number one, let's check on the furnace. So give that furnace guy a call. Have him come out, take a look at it, and see what he thinks. If you haven't changed the furnace filter, shame on you. You're half your own problem right there for sure. And then do yourself a little DIY inspection. If you know where the scuttle hole is, the little trap door to the attic, it's called the scuttle hole. If you know where the scuttle is in your house, be very careful. Get a right size ladder. Don't go up there yourself, or have a guy come over and see how much insulation you have. Now, I've dealt with people who thought they had a lot of insulation, and the insulation had settled down. They only had 2 or 3 inches of insulation. I had a guy call me one time. He says, my house seems cold. We looked up in the attic, and there was no insulation. And so I said, well, what? How do you have a house with no insulation? He goes, I don't know. So he looked up on his contract. The house is only 3 or 4 years old, and the contract said it was going to be 12 to 14 inches of blown-in insulation. There was 0. So I said, I bet you $1 you paid for it. And so we called the contractor. And the contractor said, baloney, that doesn't happen. So the contractor, who's a friend of his, came over and looked up and says, what the heck? There's no insulation. So he called the insulation guy, and he said, you got paid, you never did the job. So he said, well, they must have overlooked it for sure. At least that was the story. And who cares what the story is? They then put in insulation, and the furnace worked better automatically because it had more insulation. So number 1, check your furnace. Number 2, check your amount of your insulation, because actually insulation can blow around in your attic. Yes, insulation could blow around in your attic. All right, that's what you need to do. And then if you ask, where do you set your furnace? Where do you have it set? The furnace guy will 99% of the time tell you this. They will say, set it wherever you're comfortable. Which is, they're not trying to dodge your question. They're just trying to say, hey, if you like it set here, and then you let it go for a while, and you go back, and that's 71. That's where you set it. If you set it there and you go back, and it's a 74. That's where you set it. If you prefer to run your house a little bit cool and wear a sweatshirt or jacket, or I don't know about jacket, but sweater in the wintertime, there you go. And then you got some guidelines. Number one, check that furnace. Even though it's cold, you should have done this in the fall. You should have looked at the insulation a long time ago. Go do it. Have any of you called? I talked about this last week. I had a couple calls. The reason why I bring it up again. Called the assessor, whether it's the Johnson County assessor or the Iowa City assessor, depending on where you live, to make sure you are signed up for homestead exemption. That's you're going to get a whole bunch of money off of your assessed valuation if you just call the assessor. All right. You're going to get a senior discount off your assessment if you're 65 years or older and live and own in your own home. All right. That's a new thing that came out. And it's $6,500 more off. More. In addition to the $4,680, I think it is, off for your assessment. So you're going to get $10,000 off your assessment if you just play by the books. They made up the rule. We didn't have to do that. And last but not least, your military rollback. If you're a veteran and you have a DD-214, which is your discharge paper, your DD-214, you should go down to the Johnson County Assessor's Office at the Administration Building there on 900 South Dubuque, and or at the Iowa City Assessor in the same building, and say, hey, I want to sign up. I'm Jim Smith. I'm Joe Blow. Mrs. Jane Jones. I live at 123 Main Street in Oxford or Solon, or in Iowa City. If you live in Iowa City proper, you go to the Iowa City Assessor. Anywhere else in Johnson County, you go to the Johnson County Assessor. All right. You have anything? I started a program. I've kind of done it, but I've really been at it for quite a while. And it's really showing some good results, and it's my own fault for needing this program, but I call it Do It Now program. So you have projects or errands that keep putting off, or think you just put it off. Oh, I got to do that. I got to take care of it. Yep, or we're going to take care of that. Well, I've come to the conclusion I'm doing it. So I've been stumbling over this picture that I've had for a long, long time, and I said, I got to get that out, got to get it framed. Now, folks, it's been in my little man cave down there it's a baseball picture for 3 or 4 years. I got to get that. The other day I said, that's it, I'm taking it. So I took it to Hobby Lobby, and they framed it for me. It looks beautiful. And so sitting down there in the corner on the shelf, it's now all framed and ready to go. So I call it Do It Now. Now, I've put myself in other things. I've sat at my office before and said, well, I got to go do that. I just flat get up and go do it now. And it's been a lot more fun, a lot more, quote, entertaining, a lot more rewarding in the fact that I'm just not stalling off. I don't have to look at that anymore. I don't have to think about that anymore because I took care of it. And I call Do It Now. Oh, well, we got to get rid of that. I've got a big bucket down in the basement. We've got 150 golf balls in it. Is that you, Bill? 150 golf balls in it? Susan, maybe that's you. I don't know. Anyhow, you used to. All these golf balls. Well, I know that you told me one time you took them somewhere. You got tired looking at them. So there you go. Just some things that you could do that you're going to do, you need to do, you want to do, but you don't do it because you're lazy bum. How's that sound? So do that. I took some things to a school that I know that they would like to have had. I took it over there and talked to the principal, and they said, yep, for sure. I took some things to City High, where I went to school, and I gave them some things that I don't know what they do with it, but they told me they would put it in the down in the Letterman's area down there, and it wasn't stuff for me. It was something for a real famous Iowa City High athlete. So they did that, and I'd put that off for a long time. Just go do it, folks. There's a big thing in the senior business called aging in place. And aging in place has been a little misconstrued by a lot of people, so let's set the record straight on aging in place. Aging in place does not mean you get to stay in your house forever. It doesn't mean that at all. We all want to stay in our house. We all really think that's the place for us, by golly, I've lived here since 1958. I bought this in 1971, 82, 97, whatever it was. Well, this is our last house. Well, here's the deal. Aging in place means you need to live where you can live the best. You need to be wherever it's best for you. Because remember, my little motto here is your house didn't change, you did. Your house didn't change unless you had a bathroom fixed or brought the master main bedroom onto the main level, make it easier, blah, blah, blah. Took the washer dryer up from the basement up into the main level. You can make those changes. But that's you changing, not your house. You made the house change. So aging in place now is wherever it is best for you. If it's your home, fine. If it's not your home, it's a new chapter in the book, and you have to go plan B, whatever plan B would be. Maybe plan B is a little different location. Now this would be better for you now in today's world. All right. So that's what you need to do. So don't feel bad. Certainly can feel bad. Certainly can feel a little upset that you can't stay where it's your home, but it happens. And you're not the first one to have these problems. It's a warmer next week. And on a reasonable day, I suggest as seniors, you've been in the house, kind of holed up in the house. I suggest you do some of the following things. I like to do this just kind of to see what's out there, what's on the market. And I think and if you're not moving, I don't care if you're not moving, you're going to stay in your home, you're all fine there. But I think a nice trip to Lowe's or Menards or Slager Appliances or others, True Value or Ace Hardware or a local plumbing and lighting store, like the one at the old Plumber's Supply. What's that? AO water, O2 water place where they have light fixtures in there across the airport on Riverside Drive. They have galleries in there of light fixtures and plumbing fixtures. Just go in and see what's out there. Just go kick tires at these places. Go to these big box stores and just walk every aisle. Oh my, I didn't know they had that. I'm not sending you out there to buy things. I don't work for those companies. Not a bit. But you can see what you could do, what things you could buy. I didn't know they had something like that. Well, gee whiz, we could have used that last fall. I wish I'd have known that then. That's what this is all about. Because remember, men don't shop. When men need something, we go buy it. That's the deal. But men will go, ladies, men will go with you if you want to go to one of these places because they like stuff in there too. Man does. So you can't believe all the things for your home and the comfort that you'll see. You just don't. So when we go there together and we walk down the plumbing aisle, for God's sake. But there's faucets in there, and you don't have to buy it there. You're going to call your plumber to have him, here's what I want, and they'll go get it for you and install it, that type of thing. Oh, look at that. We use dimmer switches a lot for lights and ceiling fans. There's a couple of light fixtures that I'd like to replace. We're just out kind of kicking little tires. We talked the other day about a couple pieces of furniture that we no longer like, and so we're gonna take care of that. We're gonna go kick some tires on that. We're trying to get out, and I say to you, why not wait a few more days when it warms up, make it a little more fun. All right. If you're out and around, how about this? If you're out and around and you want to drive by 726 Iowa Avenue. 726 Iowa Avenue, Iowa City, you'll see when it was built 1841. 1841. When was Iowa City become a city? Supposedly 1839, although I think the papers got ratified like 1864 or something like that. But this house is 726 Iowa Avenue, built 1841. It was the home of William Crum, C-R-U-M, the editor of the Iowa City Standard newspaper, which was a Whig newspaper, which was a new political party. 1841, for God's sake. Now, there are lots and lots of other houses around Iowa City that I'm going to bring up, so I'm going to give you some tour ideas here this spring, and I want you to make a list of them when I bring them up. That you can, when you're on a little tour, there you go. It's kind of fun to do that. Back in the day, and I'm talking about the 1850s, 1860s, 70s, 80s, up to for a long time. Iowa City didn't get gas until late 1800s, early 1900s. Iowa City got gas. So up until then, there were a lot of stove stores. All right, actually, they sold nothing but stoves. Most of them were downtown Iowa City. And downtown Iowa City in those days, even when I was a kid in the 50s, was the hub of action on a Saturday night. And you could pick up, or if you were down there at that point, now I don't remember this, but this is a true story. Back in the 1800s and early 1900s, the big intersection of Iowa Avenue and Dubuque Street. In the middle of that intersection out there is a great big fountain, and that was a big wood pile. Everybody brought wood into town. You could go down there and buy wood. If you lived in town, you didn't have the ability to go chop down the neighbor's tree. So you went down there and bought your wood. Farmers brought it to town. People in the country brought it down and sold wood there. There were huge piles of wood because they were at a reasonable price because they were available for cooking and heating. That's what these stoves were. And it was a big, big business. So there were several places downtown. There were hardware stores that sold stoves. Big lettering on the outside of the buildings that stoves, cooking stoves, heat stove, all kinds of them in there. And they had all kinds of different ones for sure. And one of the stores was on Dubuque Street, just south of that Iowa Avenue on the east side, and it was actually next to Free Off Leathers, if you will, about where Deadwood Tavern is right now. Okay, that was Free Off Leathers, if you remember Free Off, Fryauf. Frank Fryoff and his wife had a leather store, and Fryoffs were here in the late 1800s, selling stoves and leathers and things for your horses and buggies and stuff like that, right in that location. Later on, after the war, Fryoff's downtown, they stayed there. It was purses and wallets and handbags and briefcases and more, and the Frank Fryoff family for sure. So downtown Iowa City on a Saturday night was a hopping place, and as most, maybe your hometown was the same thing. Saturday night was the place to go. Saturday night was the place to be. If you went a little early, maybe the kids got to go to a moving picture show. It was haircuts for the men, maybe the women too, hair treatments. Haircuts for the men, shopping for the ladies, the latest in dry goods. There was always a dry goods store in Iowa City. One of the big ones was Yetter's Dry Goods, Yetter's Home Goods. Over there became kind of Alden's over off of Clinton Street over there. And Yetter's was the largest store. There was Towner's in Iowa City up next to, there was Coast, C-O-A-S-T, Coast store up there next to Iowa Book, which later became Towner's. So Saturday night was a big, big deal in Iowa City, as I'll bet you $1 your hometown was too. And now Saturday night, I'll tell you something. It's a college town, so I guess every night's kind of busy. But in those small mercantile towns, I'm going to pick stuff like Washington, Iowa, Vinton, Tipton type of thing. They may be the county seats. That's where all the action was, and we just don't see that anymore. We just don't. Downtown Iowa City was hopping, and a movie picture of popular. There was an outdoor popcorn wagon on the corner of Clinton Street and College. Clinton and College. That would be outside of, we'll call it back in the day, Things and Things and Things, right on that corner out there. There was a popcorn wagon at the corner of Clinton and College, and that was also the corner where the interurban came. The interurban ran from Cedar Rapids up to Iowa City, downtown Iowa City. Right there was the turnaround, and it went back up to Cedar Rapids. That's where the Iowa City trolleys were there too. So that was a real hub down there. So a big deal for sure. So, boy, if you think about all these things back in your hometown and in my hometown here in Johnson County, Iowa City, Corba, we just missed so much. There's so much history out there, and unless you asked your grandma and grandpa or they told you something like that, you asked some old timer, you don't know all these things. So I like to just think that I have and I mean halfway, because that's about what it'd be, about a halfway step up. That's where I bring some of these historical things to you. I like to know that there were people here before us and things they did and what used to be here. It just makes it more interesting, I think. So my grandma and grandpa, I'd get from Coralville, I'd get an opportunity to go down there and stay on weekends. I'm sure my folks just want to get the hell rid of me for a weekend, Friday night and Saturday night. And I'd always end up down there on Saturday mowing the yard for sure. That was part of the deal, mow Grandpa's yard for pancake supper. Or on Friday night to get the pancake supper. Saturday mow grass, pull weeds, standard stuff as a kid. And on Saturday afternoon, we would go late in the afternoon, early evening, we would go downtown. We'd go down to Sidwell's Ice Cream Store, which was next to Joe's Tavern on Iowa Avenue. And Sidwell's ice cream, we'd sit there and think up what flavors we want, what we're going to get. Grandpa always bought, boy, that would probably cost a dime, I suppose. I don't know. I was a kid. We get all done. We'd sit there, and pretty soon, if my cousin was with me, I was there. We sitting in the back of Grandpa's big Buick, and pretty soon we'd had the ice cream cone. We're sitting there now. It's a half hour there. We're going, what are we doing? And Grandma and Grandpa would just almost the same time say, we're people watching now. And we go, what? We're people watching. So while we're there, they'd make comment. There goes old Bob Smith. I haven't seen Bob for quite a while. Maybe I'll see Bob. Or there goes the McGillicuddies. They're walking by. I wonder if they're still living over there south of town. Blah blah blah. It was people watching, which meant nothing to me as a kid. My cousin and I, we were junior high kids. Oh, we were grade school kids back in the 50s. We said, let's get out of here. But that's what they did. You know, that's not a bad time. I'm going to give you another hint that I think is a pretty good hint along this people watching thing. This cold weather, I like to walk, so I go to Coral Ridge Mall, and there I'm not labeling myself a mall walker because I don't go every day, but don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed, don't be timid to go do that. Go park your car, walk in, enter the mall, and just start walking. You know, there's park benches along the way. You can sit down. You want to get something to eat, you can go to get a Coke, go down there, sit there, get a sandwich, go down at the food court down there. Just walk around, and you don't have to buy things. You know, walk through the stores. I walk through the stores, you know, and I have bought things. Truly, that's why they like mall walkers. You're going to see something you might not buy it that day, you want to carry, but you might go back and get later on. So that's something you could do in this. There are lots of people out there. I don't know. They open early in the morning, just in the mall part. The stores aren't open, but it's open. I'm just going to pick 8 o'clock in the morning. I think earlier, but just say 8 o'clock in the morning. You can go walk the hallways out there, and when the store's open, you can walk through the hallway. That's for sure. I suggest it for exercise. I suggest it for the middle of winter blues, and I suggest it for maybe you can see somebody else out there and just go people watch. Do that too. Well, you know, the greatest secret in life is this: we never know how long we're going to be here, and I mean here. And by here, I mean with health and the abilities to live our own preferred lifestyle, and not one that's based on a stroke or a new disability or an accident. But we never know when that's going to be. We just don't know. We don't. So knowing this, I suggest each of you do all you can while you can, whatever that is. Walking, reading, swimming, running, crossword puzzles, whatever you enjoy, for God's sakes, get with it. And maybe get started on my Do It Now program. All right? Because too late may come too soon. Oh, I wish I had done that when I was still able to get around. Now you can't get around. So too late may come too soon. We don't want that to happen. You can get me a couple different ways. My name is Rex Brandstatter, and I'm at Senior Line 319-330-5534. 330-5534. Or you can send me an email. I'm not going to send you back anything unless you call me. Or I don't do that. But I'm Rex at rexrb.com. R-E-X at R-E-X-R-B as in boy.com. Rex at rexrb.com. And at this time of the program, I'd like to salute all the veterans, all those who are serving, and all those who have served. And I say thank you very much. This is America, and we're so proud of it. So, on behalf of Senior Talk, this is Rex Brandstatter saying enjoy yourself, stay warm, don't sucker into this thing that's going to cool off because we're almost done with January. And say, by the way, Iowa Hawkeyes and men are at home tonight. Let's go get them. So, Rex Brandstatter saying thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. So long.
The Solon American Legion invites you to